bringing him to Awesome Games Done Quick. And with that in mind, we actually did get, I believe, one more. Let me just check and make sure I didn't read this one already. Yeah, we got one more donation at the end of the last run. It says, glad to see some Sonic being speedrun. Big shout out for my friend The Roos is Loose for his fantastic Ori speedrun later in the day. You guys all rock. This was Cheeto donating $10. All right, I believe we are setting up for Ori right now.
Okay, I'm gonna switch audios.
Okay, let's see. Can they hear us now?
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear that? All right, I did a final refresh here. I am cutting off the bid war, and the winning color for Ori. Let's take a look at the results. In fourth place, with absolutely no dollars, Red Ori was fourth place.
Wow.
Tied for second place with $10 each, green and yellow. But the winner for the color choice for Ori with $20 was blue. So there we go. Thanks to everybody who donated for that bid war. But blue wins this time.
How's this blue look? Is it blue enough?
That's so blue.
I think that's exactly what we're looking for.
Alright, sweet.
All right, how is the audio balance, by the way, on stream chat? Can you just let us know if you can hear everybody okay? Everybody want to just say hi and introduce themselves quick?
Alright, hey, I'm Sigma. I'm going to be commentating.
I'm Hetfield 90. I'm going to be drinking twice the juice.
All right. Can they hear us? That is the question. Vulugen says it's a little quiet. Okay. Can you guys all talk one more time?
Sure. We're gonna watch Het go even further beyond. Drink twice the juice. Please clap, everybody.
Yeah, can we update the Friker Face Z?
Yeah, we need Het's channel emotes for sure. Absolutely. Yes, it's in there.
Okay. I mean, it sounds good to me. I think it's good enough for the run.
Alright, we good to go then?
I think so. Give me a countdown.
Alright, starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, so this is Ori and the Blind Forest, and this is the definitive edition of the game, which just adds a couple things in that the vanilla edition didn't have. The category that Het's going to be running is called All Skills, No Out of Bounds, No TA. And the objective of this is to get all the movement abilities that are scattered around the map of the game and then go finish the game. And we're allowed to do a lot of glitches in this run, but we're not allowed to go outside the game boundaries through any means, and we're not allowed to do a trick called TA, which is a bug that lets you abuse the teleport pads to play the game blind for periods of time and then save a whole bunch of time by doing it. But it's a terrible trick, which is why it's out of this category and just relegated off to other ones, because nobody wants to do 2 minutes of gameplay without being able to see Ori.
TA standing for teleport anywhere.
Yes, indeed. So, right off the bat, if you play Ori casually, you may notice that there's no UI on. And generally, you can see your current health and energy across the bottom of the screen, but that gets turned off for runs just by pressing Alt-U, because you instantly skip all text boxes if your UI is off. So that saves a bunch of time all over the place, especially in the early game here, where there's just a whole bunch of like, this is how you save, this is where we should go next kind of boxes popping up. So we just skip through those. So Het's grabbed the first skill technically, which is just this light orb that's going to follow him around and shoot stuff. And now he's going to go off to get wall jump, but for now he doesn't have very good movement abilities available. So it's pretty slow at the moment, but it picks up quite quickly. And there's a few manipulations going on here early on in the game. So one of them is that he wants to level up at a specific place right before wall jump. So he's picking up certain experience orbs and skipping others to set that up. And more eminently, he's going to die intentionally at this door, which opens it faster. So what he's going to do is put the keys in this door, save, and then die, and the door will open instantly. Normally this door takes 5 seconds to open, but by dying there, the door just pops open, and then the animation sort of catches up later. And now, if Het was a mere mortal, he would have gone up and got the 4th health cell there, which makes a whole lot of stuff easier later in the run, but that costs 8 seconds, and that's not Het's style, so he's just going to do this with 3 health, which is going to make a whole bunch of spikes later one-shot him, but you don't drink twice the juice and go even further beyond by getting the 4th health cell. You just skip that.
Also, there's a lot of death abuse strats, and it changes up those strats if you get the health cell.
It's also true. So let's see, are you going to level up on the way down?
I should
Oh
have
yeah,
just,
okay.
should have just gone on the way up. I forgot that I'm not doing fast Frankie walk.
He's not doing fast Frankie walk. He's madman. Alright, so can't blame him for that though. Fast Frankie walk that basically nobody else does. It has like 40 frames of leeway, but there's a lot of things that can go wrong and take away a whole bunch of those frames all at once. And it saves 7 seconds, and if you fail it, it loses you like a minute and 20 or something like that. So yeah, you can understand not doing. It's coming back. So all that's happening in the meantime, while everything's going to crap, is Het's just moving over to Blackroot Burrows to go pick up the second skill with Dash. After refreshing a few times, this is working for me again, so hopefully on the Twitch stream it is as well. It looks like it's good now. Okay, so all that happened was he grabbed wall jump, he ran back up from wall jump, and now he's heading over to one of the new zones in the Definitive Edition called Blackroot Burrows, which has the Dash skill. Dash is a super sweet ability for the speedrun because it gives you a massive burst of horizontal speed, which consecutive dashing across the ground is about 3 times faster than you're normally able to run. So that's pretty cool, and since you can get it right away, it affected a lot of the movement throughout the run in this edition compared to vanilla. So another thing we just saw there is Het opened up the ability menu and was able to play the game in the background. That's just a trick where you make the game think you're closing the ability menu, but you're kind of activating it at the same time, and that lets you do a thing called Save Anywhere, which allows you to save during a cutscene and then progress through that cutscene without having to watch it, which saves 20 seconds there, I think. So now we're in Blackroot Burrows. This area is pretty tightly confined by platform cycles. He kind of got really unlucky with the orb dropping way back behind him, but it's likely he's still going to make the same cycle, so that's not going to make too much of a difference, most likely. Because once he gets up to the top of these lasers, jump pads, it's not going down, then he's on the same cycle. Yeah, he's on the same cycle. He had plenty of room still. It's very sad to miss a cycle in here. It takes 8 seconds. You just have to sit there and wait. So now he's going to stand on the left side of that platform just for a little bit, and what that's going to do is manipulate this platform cycle in the room after this one, so that as soon as when he enters the room, the platform is going to come down and meet him, and then he's going to get on it and go up right away. If you don't do that, the platform advances a bit too far, and it's going to be going up as you enter, and you won't be able to jump on it, so you have to wait a full cycle before you can get on it. But this way he just gets on it, and he's good to go. And then there's a short little skip he's going to do here. He's going to drop the orb on the moving platform and then just jump in front of this laser before the platform moves back and kills him. But there's a pretty big leeway to that, so no worries, no worries. And now we have a short-ish, like 20-second unskippable cutscene where we just have to push this orb onto this pedestal. And after that, we'll be able to pick up dash and head on out here. So the next trick coming up after this is called the Frankie Walk. Since Wall Jump has been keeping track of his experience to set up for this, it's a fairly wide window, but missing this is a complete run killer, so you do have to be a little careful for it. And essentially what's going to happen is, at the moment, he has 2 maximum energy. Now Sigma's behind, chat says. Okay, I'm gonna refresh the stream again. Maybe this will fix it. Okay, so he has 2. Yeah, I caught up a little bit there. So he has 2 max energy, and he needs to open a door that costs 4 energy to open. So he's gonna put 2 energy in the door, level up, and then put 2 more energy in the door, because leveling up refills your energy fully. And another thing that you saw a little bit of as he was leaving Blackroot, but I didn't mention because I was way behind on the stream, is there's a trick in this game called dash gliding, which is where you do a dash, you go to neutral inputs during the dash, and then jump out of it, and that retains more of your momentum from the dash than you would be able to otherwise, and that's good for getting over cutscene trigger zones and getting over pits where you can't dash in the air. It's slower than consecutive dashing along the ground, but it's faster than any other movement you can do in the air for now. So that's the slow Frankie Walk, or the insane Frankie Walk, where you get the guy to the door and then you kill him. And now he's going to take a quick detour in this section here to grab an extra energy cell. This is sort of a new addition to the route. You, for now, can't use energy for anything other than saving, but later on he's going to get an ability called Charge Dash, and that is going to let him basically break the game in a lot of ways. And Charge Dash costs, holy smokes, got the Grotto Cycle. That's a really tight trick to get into those creatures early, and that saves, I think, 8 seconds. Yeah, so that's really, really sick. Like, there's several dashes and wall jumps that have a pretty small, like, room for error before you can, you know, you'll just miss that or get crushed trying to get in there. So we've got the Grotto Cycle, which is insane, and now we're gonna go pick up double jump real quick. Now here, Het's gonna quickly pick up double jump, open the ability tree, level up Rekindle, and then reload the game, and that's gonna make the double jump cutscene play, but he's gonna be able to move during it. So he's gonna get off, way off to the left, and start climbing this wall out of here while that's happening. And that saves something like 8 seconds or something like that, not having to sit there and watch it. And then we're just gonna grab one more energy cell, and then we're gonna head out of Grotto. At this point, we have just about everything we need to get to the Ginso tree, so that's the next goal. There's just the key to the Ginso tree, which we'll go get on the way. This here is a trick called the grotto skip. You jump off a particular spot in that wall, and you skip having to go around the left side of grotto, so that saves about a minute. It's not as easy as Het made it look there. Quickly again, another cutscene skip. He's rekindling through this cutscene, and this skips a cutscene where Gumo is going to pull a trigger and make a bunch of rocks drop on you, and then there's going to be a bunch of random rocks falling while you're climbing up this part is what's supposed to be happening, but this skips all of that, fortunately. Once again, another cutscene skip, place a save, walk into a cutscene, rekindle. This one's just a small time save to skip you saving Gumo from the rock he dropped on himself. But since we skipped the cutscene where he dropped the rock on himself, you know, it's fine to just leave him there as is. Now we got the water vein, and we're going to see a whole bunch of these Gumo cutscenes backwards. You're supposed to come into Grotto a different way, but because we use that 4 energy door, we're going to be seeing all the cutscenes backwards. There you saw a really long dash glide out of that cutscene, so we landed way off to the right. You're supposed to sit there and watch and have to dash again, but he's way off to the right so you can get through there. Then you just dash through a slime, which is another precise trick, where you dash at a specific spot and get hit by his shot, and it knocks you forward rather than back, which is quite difficult to do. Now we're going to grab another level up. This level up is not the most important, but it is planned out to set up for the next one, and it kills that frog for 30 experience, which is pretty handy. And just before we head to Ginso, we're just going to go up this tree and grab one more ability cell up there, and those are just to get us charge dash eventually, because charge dash saves unbelievable amounts of time later. Oh, and of course I forgot one more detour before Ginso, is we gotta go get the teleporter down here, because we want to use that teleporter at the end of the game to come back to Mount Horu. Because that's just the fastest one by a few seconds. Just pull out that rock and then dash to it. So one more cutscene skip, and then we got a little bit of a breather while we're able to watch this door opening cutscene, and at the same time as we put the water vein into Ginso, Gumo's like, oh crap, I gotta run with this water vein because this is where we were supposed to see it for the first time. So now we're in Ginso, just gonna be doing a little bit of platforming through here. I will mention something that's sort of neat with Hetfield's runs, is you'll see him doing these kind of weird backflip animations up walls that you might not see other runners do. I forgot about this trick, this is cool. He's jumping between these portals back and forth. When you go through a portal, your double jump refreshes, so you can just double jump straight up through those portals, which saves, well, in this case, no time because he fell, but saves normally like 2 seconds or something like that over going through that room normally. So, okay, as I was saying about Hetfield climbing walls, a lot of the time you'll see like these weird sort of backflipping animations coming up from Ori, which is called a ninja jump, and that is done by going to neutral inputs, or like holding left and right at the same time on the frame you jump, and then switching back to hold into the wall. And for whatever reason, if you climb a wall while holding towards the wall, which is mostly how it's done by most people, you're blocked from double jumping for 15 frames, and you get a slightly lower average speed by not being able to double jump soon enough. But if you're ninja jumping, there's no block on your double jump, so you can jump walls in a faster rhythm, which done optimally is about 10% faster, but it's unbelievably difficult to do that well, so most people don't bother with it. But you get all these cool backflips and stuff, which is why they're called ninja jumps, because Ori's ninjaing up the wall. And then if you followed Ori runs in the past, you might think, what the heck is he doing spamming shots in this mini-boss? Because shot pacing in this game was originally thought to be optimal if you were spacing your shots 18 frames apart, just single shots. But as we discovered recently, with really good mashing, you can do sets of 2 shots quicker overall than doing paced shots. So if you do sets of 2 like that, you can get a couple more hits in on the boss and kill him just a little bit faster. There's another quick ghost door trick. Just puts the keys in the door, saves, and dies, and that gets a bash. Now bash is an awesome ability. This is what held the speedrun together in the vanilla version of this game. Now we have dash as well for movement tech, but bash is what really made this into a great platformer. So what this ability does is it throws an enemy or projectile or whatever you want to grab behind you and propels yourself forward. And then by going into neutral inputs after you bash, you get this effect called a bash glide, which is about 60% faster than normal movement if you're going flat. It's a lot slower than consecutive dashing, but when you're going through the air, it's useful, and it's just useful in a variety of ways throughout. So here, Het placed a save in a particular position to do a trick called the key dupe, where he's going to die, put some keys in this door, and then the door is going to unload and throw those keys back into his inventory as it unloads. But because those keys weren't yet taken on the map when he placed that save, they respawn in the world, and he still has them. Now that doesn't really help you in Ginso, but it's going to make what he does immediately after Ginso a lot faster. Now there's a trick called hyperspeed, where he saves within the first few frames of the dash, and then dies, which he has to do for the ghost door anyways, and then he just retains the dash speed on respawn, so that's pretty cool. Now, I mentioned back before approaching Ginso about setting up the level up for the top, or the next level basically, and that's going to be, this trick here is called the core skip. So what he's going to do is, to avoid doing the right side room here, you level up off this frog that he's bashed up top as you get into this room, and it just, level up explosion will kill both sides and save about 30 seconds. And then he's going to dash into spikes, but that doesn't matter because where it heals you. And now we're on to the Ginso escape. So one thing to note is, we used to do the Ginso escape without water. It was faster to glitch the cutscene of the core starting, and then start on your way through the escape while it was still watching, and then the water just wouldn't spawn. But in the definitive edition of the game, it's faster to leave the water in because there's an invisible wall at the top that prevents you from doing the first part of the escape while you're waiting for the cutscene. So we just go through the escape with water. It makes it a lot cooler. We get to, you know, have the epic music with the water facing us. Of course, the water is a lot meaner to speedrunners because it rubber bands really hard, so it's not like you can just outrun it. There are some escape sequences in the game where you can do that. The water always has to be at the bottom of the screen, so it'll always catch up to you. And now we're coming up on probably the hardest trick in the game, where you have to turn the UI back on and mash through one line of dialogue and then turn it off again. If you don't do this, you lose up to like 10 to 15 seconds while Ori just stares at the sky. And Het's even emoting in chat during this, so let's see if he got the UI trick. Oh, he did, amazing. Got him, and now the UI is back off for the next really long time. So, because he did the key dupe earlier, he can skip this entire swimming section and just put the keys in this door immediately, which is pretty sick. And then, just doing a couple fancy dash glides on his way up through Swamp. Here we're gonna go pick up Stomp, which is definitely not as flashy of an ability as Bash, but it has some useful movement techniques, and we're going to do a cool damage boost up these spikes to get there, which is save another half second, so that's pretty sweet. Okay, so Stomp, it's a good combat technique. We don't do much combat. It's necessary to push in some switches and stuff later. Its probably main useful point is it makes you fall faster than your terminal velocity because physics are really just a suggestion. So you'll see him stomp a lot. Even if falling like half a screen, it's often faster to just stomp rather than let yourself fall, even though there's a bit of a wind up to it. Now, he places a save up on the edge there, and now there's going to be a trick called Rimless after a bunch more awesome ninja jumps up this wall. So what he does there is he starts a stomp, he opens the ability menu, he saves, and the save, when reloading the file, tries to drop him onto the nearest solid ground, and also remembers that he was stomping. Now, the nearest solid ground is this stomp ceiling floor thing that you're not supposed to stomp because it's underwater, and it just breaks it for you. And otherwise, you'd need Charge Flame to get out of the swamp, and we don't have Charge Flame yet because we did that sequence break into Grotto at the very start of the game. Now, here's a skip called Kuro Cutscene Skip, which we'll see if we get. It's a very precise position to stand and then bash, and of course he gets it, no problem. And that just skips a 17-second cutscene. It looks like it's nothing, but there's not really much room for that to work. We saw some 2 out of 3 success in the race earlier on that one. And now we're finally going to get over to Charge Flame, which is normally the 3rd skill you pick. For us, it's pretty useless. There's a couple places where it saves a little bit of time, but really the only reason that we get it is because, well, one, it's required to go through the ability tree and get Air Dash and Charge Dash, which are absolutely awesome. And secondly, it's required for this category because it's one of the skills in the game. So now air dash is unlocked, which allows you a single dash in the air similar to a double jump, and that can be used to speed up your dash glides and speed up your movement in general. So here's another save anywhere, and combined with a dash glide over the spirit tree. And what that's going to do is skip the slow walk zone that you normally have to suffer through if you do a save right next to the spirit tree. There you can see a couple air dashes. And now from this point on, energy management becomes really important because charge dash is going to be learned in this segment, and we're not going to have any full energy refills for quite some time. So fortunately for once, the energy at the stomp post didn't like rocket away into the spikes when Het stomped there, so he just has that energy as doesn't have to go magneted, but you definitely need to get that energy for things to work out here. And now, coming up is a trick called Fast Stompless. And what this is kind of a really amazing trick. So what's supposed to happen in Valley here is we're supposed to first off get 2 ability cells in this upper part. We're only going to get 1. And then he's going to go up to the top. He's going to redirect a spider shot at a specific angle, which is actually straight at a wall. And then he's going to run away from the spider shot real quick. And that's going to unload the wall that he shot the spider shot at. It's going to fly at some breakable rocks that you're supposed to stomp onto Kuro's head. And then the rocks take damage, as you just saw from the shot, even though it's not a stomp. And then it just starts the cutscene for the rocks to be falling on Kuro's head, which teleports you down to Feather. So in the time while the shot was traveling, he went back and got the cell. So this saves about 16 seconds over not doing that, and kills your run if you miss it, basically. So, but now he's got the cell, he's got the Feather, he's got every point he needs to level Charge Dash, which is probably the sickest movement ability in the game. So the first thing he's going to do is a Charge Dash bug called a Rocket Jump, where he charge dashes at something above him and then interrupts the charge dash, which causes it to not remember that he was dashing, which is supposed to reduce his speed, but it will remember that he was going at 100 speed up, and that allows him to jump straight up Valley. And then we're just going to do a couple more of them, basically, to do some shenanigans with the roof breaking to make this frog shoot up at the roof. Now, because this is a marathon, I'm going to grab 1 extra energy here, make a safety save. Normally, in a PB attempt, you wouldn't save through Sorrow, but it's just perhaps wise to grab that. So dropping 5 seconds for that safety save, but no big deal. This run's still on a absolutely sick pace right now. So now we're gonna do a little trick called Frog Juggle. We're gonna drop the frog off the edge, and then redo that section. So we need that frog to break the ceiling at the top of Sorrow. And his health is lowered because we had to charge dash to him, and oh god, everything's going to crap. But that's why we have that safety save, because if not, we'd be back down at the Feather every time there was a death there. So yeah, we're getting more value out of that one than we really wanted. But now Frog Juggle's underway. Frog's at really low health because we've got charge dash too, so they're a little bit tight. There's like, I think, room for 1 extra bash or something like that. But, oh my god, bodied by the frog. So, at least this gives me a moment to catch my breath, because we've been having about twice the juice for now, and now we're getting down to some lower energy moments as we get to see the frog juggle several times, but something will get you in these runs. Something will always get you. Now, there's Het doing a whole bunch of double bashes, which is basically bashing the frame after you bash to... Oh dear, there goes the frog. Get him a little bit higher up and preserve his health, but it didn't preserve enough health. So we wanted to do another rocket jump off this frog to fly all the way up to the top, but didn't pan out. Frog died, and now we're just gonna float slowly, so that kind of sucks, but you know, we got to see enough of rocket jumps already. My heart can't really take anymore. So we level up off the experience bulb at the top of Sorrow. And then that gives us a point for this cutscene skip here. Just do another save anywhere, grab the Sunstone, and save right after we grab it. And that skips a 90-second long cutscene. So now we're heading back down from Sunstone. We're gonna grab the whatchamacallit, charge jump from Sorrow here, which is this skill here. It basically lets you jump really high after a few frames of charging up. It used to be way more useful, but since we have rocket jumps, we're going to be using those more so for our vertical movement. So we got charge jump. Now all we got to do is go grab climb from Misty Woods. Misty Woods is really sort of like the motivation behind this category, or one of the motivations behind this category originally, because the movement in this area, once you have charge jump and dashes and all this cool stuff, is really quite something to behold. And another thing that you'll get to see is there's a trick called stomp canceling. There's two ways to refund your energy from the charge dash. Normally it should cost an energy, but if you cancel the charge dash by either bashing or stomping before, I think, 13 frames have gone by, then your energy refunds. So you've got, Het's got the UI on here just to make sure it's cancelled. You can see his energy keep going up and down as he's bashing at stuff or doing stomps at stuff. And that's just basically a way to fit in more charge dashes, because charge dashes are absolutely insanely fast. If you do consecutive charge dashing, you're going to about 8 times faster than your normal speed, which is pretty nuts. So just more charge dash bashes at stuff, which is really nice. Now a brief break for this short cutscene where we see the goal at the end of Misty, but we will be there soon enough. So Misty Woods, some of the mechanics of this area is there are a couple times when the map changes, you'll see him grab something and then backtrack. So the triggers for the map changing are getting the climb skill, which he's about to get, and then every time he gets a keystone, the map will change. So now we got climb, we've got 2 more keystones to get out of Misty, and then we'll be out of here. But this is some cool movement here, so try to kind of just swaggy 1 frame jump, which you didn't get, but it doesn't save any time anyways, so that's fine. Now we're just going to see a whole bunch of like rocket dashes and stomp cancels and skipping all the puzzles that this zone normally has. So there's a stomp cancel into the thing, there's another stomp cancel across the puzzle spike room, and this is only the very beginning. Now we have to wait a little bit for those flowers, and then charge jump lets us skip the rest of it. And now we're just gliding along and going to the 4th key. We're gonna pick up a little bit, few more energy drops just for breaking one of these crystals here, because energy is more charge dashes, more speed. And now here's a cool rocket dash where you don't even land, you just rocket dash off of a guy off the wall as you're flying through the air. And of course, note that all the spikes will one-shot him, so if you went off to the side spikes, you would back and climb, but it's too slow to save and too slow to not do that rocket dash, so there you have it. Now here's a mini-boss. There goes the mini-boss. Those things are supposed to have a lot of health, but, you know, they just die when you do a charge jump, C-flame plus charge dash into them. It reflects their shots, it just does a ton of damage. Now we're just going to do a bunch more stomp cancels on our way out of here, along with more charge dash bashing into all this stuff. And actually, how did that bird die? I don't even know, but he didn't get the refund because the bird died and then dropped all his energy, so that kind of sucks, because now we have to glide along slowly at the end here. Ideally, you always want to keep 1 energy, but, you know, it's okay, because it's planned to take a save after this teleport anyways, just to refund the energy, because we need to do some saves and stuff up here, so not a huge deal. So now we're revisiting Blackroot to get the other skill in here called Light Grenade. We couldn't get it before because you need at least Stomp or some tricks, which take forever to set up to get down here. So it's fastest to just get it now. So here's an intentional death. He saved, pulled the lever, rekindled, and then died. And for some reason that makes the game think that you're always pulling the lever. And that's going to cause a door on the right to be open on his way back, which lets him get to a faster teleporter. Now here's just some abuse of this roly-poly Baneling thing. We gets to charge dash at it repeatedly. Oh!
We're still good.
Alright. So we nearly got to watch a cutscene, but because the idea is to get into this cutscene and then level an ability and then reload the game, but he exited out too fast before leveling the ability and go back to the save. That cutscene's like, I think, 70 seconds long, I want to say. So it's way faster to reload that than to than to watch it. So we got Light Grenade. Light Grenade sucks and will never get used. It used to get used, and then we found better ways to do all the things it was used for, at least in this category. So we just have it because it's a skill and it's required for the definition of the category, and that's the only reason. And then, stupid Baneling spawn blocking the laser cycle, that kind of sucks. Now we're gonna go back up. We're gonna teleport using the door that we glitched open with that lever earlier, and we're gonna go to the teleporter that we grabbed just before Ginso, because this is just the fastest way to get to the end. So, quick skip out of that boulder escape just by charging up at an angle, just pass through all the spikes, and now we get to teleport to Ginso. Now all that's left is to do the final dungeon, and we're just gonna stomp cancel their way over there because that's fast, more rocket jumps, bit of dash glide, and there's a little bit of energy refill, which is good because, like I said, you always want 1 energy, so running out of energy there is because we plan to take that 2 extra. And this will give us energy to do more stomp cancels and whatnot on our way to Horu. So this final dungeon in the game is really long and involved. There's 8 rooms up either side. You're supposed to lower the lava, going room by room until you get to the bottom, or you can just enter the door on the first frame that the game loads, and that'll just put you at the end, conveniently enough. So this trick's called door warp. Sometimes it's finicky. Hopefully I'm not too far behind the stream, but see if we get it first try. Yes, first try door warp. So that just puts you at the end of the dungeon, conveniently enough. I kind of, you know, gave Horu too much credit. Even without door warp, there's a way that you can skip the entire dungeon. It's just slower than that and requires you to farm an ability point. So now the final escape begins. Refills our energy back up to 4, but Het's going to do way more than 4 charge dashes at the end because we're going to do a whole crap ton of stomp cancels in this. And I should note that if you mess up the inputs on a stomp cancel, I'll talk a bit about what a stomp cancel really is, because if you just do a charge dash and then you stomp and you wait, it takes a really long time before you're able to go to the stomp, but you can jump out of the stomp. So he's doing really quick, like charge dash, stomp, jump, charge dash type inputs, and if you mess those up, you fat finger them and like jump stomp instead of stomp jump sometime, you might just face plant into some lava. But that didn't happen here. And there, right at the end, we got sweet fish strats where he's gonna bash the fish out of water and rocket jump off the fish, which skips having to float up the ending part normally, and that's gonna be it. So now all that's left to do is hold right and let this final sort of cutscene-ish thing, but you're still doing inputs, play out, and that'll be the end of the game. So that was Ori.
Oh yeah, by the way, Voligen, Ori's actually invincible when he's stomping and charge dashing, so stomp canceling through that like rotating crusher corridor it's actually pretty safe.
Yeah, I think the only thing that really went wrong was, like, the Sorrow death sucked, but you had the safety saver, and then, I mean, you ran out of energy at the end of Misty, but that was kind of whatever. And you didn't go for fast Frankie Walk, but you did get the fast Grotto cycle, which saves more time than fast Frankie Walk anyways.
Alright, time right now. What was the final time on that?
Hang on, I'll start the main stream back up. I can find this. 34:25. So faster than me by a lot.
Cool.
Nice job.
I wasn't using splits, but I'm sure that was like a minute 30 lost in Sorrow Pass.
Yeah, that Sura was like really brutal.
The problem there was that the frog was in a different spot than I was used to because I did the safety save.
Were you trying to stomp cancel it every time and you just kept missing because you were close, or did you just go for the bash?
No, I don't know what happened.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's Ori.
Or you done quick.
Awesome. Thank you guys for that run. Thanks again to everybody who donated for that incentive, by the way. All right, coming up next after Ori here, we've got Toho double spoiler with BJW. And then we've got a Metal Gear block. We've got Metal Gear MSX and Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, both being done by Mini Omega King. So stay tuned, everybody, and I will check up on donations in just a second here as we switch over to the next game.
Okay, back onto my audio. Good run, dude.
Thanks.